Can you pay to disappear? Because this can be such a time-consuming process, data broker removal services have emerged, promising to step in and do the work for you. The key part of how these services work is that they automate the removal process by visiting data broker and people search websites to check if your information is listed. However, the important thing to remember is that they require you to provide them with all of your information so that they can identify if your data is listed. To get to the bottom of which services are worth your money, I sat down with Jonah Aragon, the project director here at Privacy Guides, who wrote and helped research the recommendations on our website.
So currently at Privacy Guides, EasyOptOuts is our top recommendation for an automated data removal service, and that's based on both their pretty good value and their effectiveness in our testing. It's only a $20 a year service, and it searches data brokers that it supports before it submits opt-out requests to them. And this is an important distinction from other services that are in this price category or free data removal services that you'll find online, because what a lot of those will do is kind of create a email template to opt you out and bulk send that out to all of the data brokers that they support. Now, if they send that out to a data broker that doesn't have your information in the first place, obviously giving them some information in that opt-out request can actually worsen your data security stance, which is why it's so important to find a tool like EasyOptOuts that does these searches beforehand to confirm they actually have the information on you in the first place. Another service you could actually consider comes from a surprising source. Google has a free tool that's called Results About You in some countries, including the US and UK, and that notifies you when your personal information appears in Google search results, and then it lets you request the removal of that search result from Google when it's found. This method isn't going to appeal to a lot of people because it does require you submit your personal information to Google for them to periodically monitor their search results for. Google says that they don't use the information that you provide to the Results About You tool to personalize your experiences across other Google products, but of course, a lot of people I think are going to still find this relationship unacceptable because Google is a notorious data collector themselves. However, I still mention it because the reality is, in many cases, a Google search is actually going to be the first place that a potential stalker or an abuser would look to find your personal information. So removing those results can still be very valuable. It could make using it a worthwhile trade-off for some people. Unlike EasyOptOuts, Google's tool doesn't actually opt you out and remove the data from those sites directly. It just removes the search result from Google, but it does notify you about those results and lets you handle those. And if you get a notification about your results being found on a site, you could always do the manual opt-out process that we've described to remove your data from those sites directly. And so Google's tool can be a good way to help supplement that manual removal process if that's the route you're going instead of using an automated service.
A quick reminder, we're never affiliated with any of our recommendations. They're based on our own independent criteria and testing. But last year, Yael did her own report with Consumer Reports to test the effectiveness of these services and also found EasyOptOuts stood out among its competitors.
Yeah, so we did a report. We worked with Tall Poppy. So I worked with Victoria Kaufman and Lee Honeywell, and I think it was about a year ago. What we did was we got a series of volunteers. One of my colleagues at Consumer Reports helped gather, and we looked for all their information, and then we signed them up for a paid service, and then we checked to see what information was removed a week, a month, and I think it was 3 months later.
So what did that report find? And did it validate and confirm our results too?
Yeah, so in that Consumer Reports paper, they found pretty similar results to our testing of EasyOptOuts. In their testing, they saw that EasyOptOuts removed 65% of the results within 4 months, which is just narrowly behind another service called Optory Ultimate, which cost over 10 times as much. So the value proposition of EasyOptOuts, I think, is pretty clear. These data broker removal services, as we've seen in all this testing, are going to vary in quality very widely. Nearly all of the sites that they tested at Consumer Reports performed significantly worse than EasyOptOuts and Optory, with some of them actually removing less than 10% of the results successfully.
These services aren't perfect, and in many cases, you'll still want to check a few sites to manually opt out of sites the service might be missing. Luckily, Yael has built another project that shows you the gaps in these services, making it super easy to cover the rest of your data